bá mi pè é o. Àfíjù. Kí lorúkọ rẹ̀? Àfíjù. Rédíò. Àfíjù. Gbogbo èèyàn ló ń gbọ́ àfíjù. Gbogbo èèyàn ló ń gbọ́ àfíjù. Lórí WhatsApp. Àfíjù. Instagram. Àfíjù. Facebook. Àfíjù. Lórí X. Àfíjù. Lórí YouTube. Àfíjù. Lórí TikTok. Àfíjù. Kí lorúkọ rẹ̀? Àfíjù. Ẹ bá mi pè é o. Àfíjù. Rédíò. Àfíjù. Gbogbo èèyàn ló ń gbọ́ àfíjù. Gbogbo èèyàn ló ń wo àfíjù. Gbogbo èèyàn ló ń gbọ́ àfíjù. Gbogbo èèyàn ló ń wo àfíjù. Rédíò. Àfíjù. Rédíò. Àfíjù. Rédíò. Àfíjù.
Good evening and welcome to the second edition of Newsmakers on Radio Afinju, the station with an impeccable dimension to broadcasting. Newsmakers is a program that highlights the life and times of global icons, their background stories, important life achievements, and their impact to the society in their respective chosen field of endeavors. Today, we are shining the spotlight on a Nigerian nationalist and statesman who played a key role in Nigeria's independence movement. I am talking about no other person than Chief Obafemi Awolowo. Awolowo was a staunch believer in the unity and oneness of Nigeria. Also known as Awo by many, he was a visionary leader, astute statesman, intellectual giant, and profound preacher of federalism. These qualities caused him to stand out amongst his peers at the time. Awolowo rose from the ashes to become the first premier of the western region of Nigeria. He was an important leader of the Action Group Party who fought for Nigeria's independence and played a pivotal role in the Nigeria-Biafra War. Obafemi Awolowo is defied among many Nigerians, especially his Yoruba kinsmen, for his leadership skills, his brand of politics, popularly known as Awoism. His ardent followers are referred to as Awoists. Throughout this program, we will be exploring Obafemi Awolowo's life, career, legacy, and his impact in Nigeria's history. So stay tuned for details about one of the nation's most iconic nationalists and politician. My name is Stella Aderanti, your anchor. Welcome. African history is replete with committed individuals who dedicated their lives to advocating for the development of the continent. The late sage, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, was one of such individuals. Obafemi Jeremiah Oyeniyi Awolowo was a Nigerian politician who served as the first premier of the western region of Nigeria. He was known as one of the key figures towards Nigeria's independence movement from 1957 to 1960. Awolowo founded the Yoruba nationalist group Egbe Omo Oduduwa, as well as the premier of the western region under Nigeria's parliamentary system from 1952 to 1959. He was the official opposition leader in the federal parliament to the Tafawa Balewa government from 1959 to 1963. As a young man, he was an active journalist, editing publications such as The Nigerian Worker and The African Sentinel, on top of others as well. He later became founder and publisher of Nigerian Tribune of African Newspapers of Nigeria Limited. After receiving his Bachelor of Commerce degree in Nigeria, he traveled to London to pursue his degree in law. Obafemi Awolowo was the first premier of the Western region and later Federal Commissioner for Finance and Vice Chairman of the Federal Executive Council during the Nigerian Civil War. He was thrice a major contender for the country's highest office. A native of Ikenne in Ogun State of southwestern Nigeria, he started his career, like some of his well-known contemporaries, as a nationalist in the Nigerian youth movement, in which he rose to become Western Provincial Secretary. Awolowo was responsible for much of the progressive social legislation that has made Nigeria a modern nation. In 1963, he was tried and jailed for 10 years on charges of sedition, pardoned by the government in 1966, after which he was appointed the Minister of Finance. In recognition of all of this, Awolowo was the first individual in the modern era to be named as the leader of the Yorubas. His early life. Awolowo was born Jeremiah Obafemi Oyeniyi Awolowo on 6th of March 1909 in the Remo town of Ikenne, present-day Ogun State. He was the only son of David Shopolu Awolowo, a farmer and sawyer, and Mary Efunyela Awolowo. He had two sisters and one maternal half-sister. Awolowo's father was born to a high chief and member of the Iwarefa, the leading faction of the traditional Oshugbo group that ruled Ikenne. In 1896, Awolowo's father became one of the first Ikenne natives to convert to Christianity. Awolowo's paternal grandmother, Adefule Awolowo, whom Awolowo adored, was a devout worshipper of the Ifa. Adefule, Awolowo's grandmother, believed that Obafemi was a reincarnation of her father, his great-grandfather. Awolowo's father's conversion to Christianity often went at odds with his family's beliefs, as he often challenged worshippers of the god of smallpox, Obaluaye. His father ultimately died on April 8, 1920, of smallpox when Obafemi was about 11 years old. He attended various schools, including Baptist Boys High School, Abeokuta, and then became a teacher in Abeokuta, after which he qualified as a shorthand typist. Subsequently, he served as a clerk at the Wesley College, Ibadan, as well as a correspondent for the Nigerian Times. Following his education at Wesley College, Ibadan in 1927, he enrolled at the University of London as an external student and graduated with the degree of Bachelor of Commerce Honours. He went to the UK in 1944 to study law at the University of London and was called to the bar by the Honourable Society of the Inner Temple on 19th of November 1946. In 1949, Awolowo founded the Nigerian Tribune, a private Nigerian newspaper which he used to spread nationalist consciousness among Nigerians. His political career. In 1945, Awolowo attended the 5th Pan-African Congress in Manchester as a representative of the Nigerian youth movement along with H.O. Davies. Also attending was an illustrious list of participants which included Kwame Nkrumah, Hastings Banda, Jomo Kenyatta, and Jaja Wachuku among others. Awolowo was Nigeria's foremost federalist. In his path to Nigerian freedom in 1947, the first systemic federalist manifesto by a Nigerian politician, he advocated federalism as the only basis for equitable national integration, and, as head of the action group, he led demands for a federal constitution, which was introduced in the 1954 Littleton Constitution, following primarily the model proposed by the Western Region delegation led by him. He was also a keen advocate of minority rights and the relocation of the federal capital away from Lagos, advocating for Lagos' rights to be governed by the Western Region of largely Yoruba stock. He really took the country serious and wanted the Yoruba's right to be known. As premier, he proved to be and was viewed as a man of vision and a dynamic administrator. Awolowo was also the country's leading social democratic politician. He supported limited public ownership and limited central planning in government. He believed that the state should channel Nigeria's resources into education and state-led infrastructural development. Controversially, and at considerable expense, he introduced free primary education for all in 1955. This groundbreaking policy aimed to increase access to education and improve literacy rates in the region. Awolowo's government implemented the Universal Primary Education Scheme, which was a significant milestone in Nigeria's educational development. Free health care for children in the Western region was initiated by Chief Obafemi Awolowo in 1955. It was a policy aimed to improve the health and well-being of children in the region. He established the first television service in Africa called Western Nigerian Television, WNTV, in 1959 in Ibadan, to promote education and information, enhance cultural development, entertain and engage as well as support regional development in the Western region. The Oduduwa Group, also known as Egbe Omo Oduduwa, was established in 1945. This Nigerian political was the mainstay of the regional economy. Awolowo's valedictory speech on 3rd of November 1959 to the Western Region House of Assembly, recounting his achievements in office between 1952 and 1959, provides context to his work ethic and achievements as an administrator. In opposition, from the eve of independence, he led the Action Group as the leader of the opposition in the federal parliament, leaving Samuel Ladoke Akintola as the Western Region Premier. Disagreements between Awolowo and Akintola on how to run the Western Region led the latter to an alliance with the Tafawa Balewa MPC federal government. A constitutional crisis led to the declaration of a state of emergency in the Western Region, eventually resulting in a widespread breakdown of law and order. Excluded from national government, Awolowo and his party faced an increasingly precarious position. Akintola's followers, angered at their exclusion from power, formed the Nigerian National Democratic Party (NNDP) under Akintola's leadership, but he was never able to win the votes of the majority of the region. His blatantly rigged election in 1965 was undoubtedly an immediate cause of the January 1966 coup in which he was slain. Having previously suspended the elected Western Regional Assembly, the federal government then reconstituted the body after maneuvers that brought Akintola's NNDP into power without an election. Shortly afterwards, Awolowo and several disciples were arrested, charged, convicted of treason, and jailed under Balewa for conspiring with the Ghanaian authorities to overthrow the federal government. As national leader, by 1966, he was released and pardoned by the government, after which he assumed the position of Minister of Finance. From this position, he helped negotiate the joint venture rights of Nigeria in its new oil field, ushering in a decade of oil boom and providing the bulwark of national wealth. He also helped develop the system of national revenue sharing and fiscal allocation, FAC, which enabled newly created states that boosted minority rights to thrive and survive to this day. He is also credited with naming the new national currency, the Nigerian Naira, introduced under his leadership in 1973 when he was serving as the Federal Commissioner of Finance in the Yakubu Gowon cabinet. The Naira was introduced as the Nigerian currency on 1st of January 1973, replacing the Nigerian pound at a rate of 1 pound to 2 Naira. As presidential candidate, in 1979 and 1983, he contested under the Unity Party's platform as a presidential candidate, but lost to the northern-based National Party of Shehu Shagari. In 1979, he contested his loss in court, making a case for electoral college decision because the winning candidate could not have said to have won having not fulfilled the majority in 2/3 of states, then 19, which led to the landmark Supreme Court decision of 1979 with Chief Justice Fatai Williams presiding. His legacy. In 1992, the Obafemi Awolowo Foundation was founded as an independent, non-profit, non-partisan organization committed to furthering the symbiotic interaction of public policy and relevant scholarship with a view to promoting the overall development of the Nigerian nation. The foundation was launched by the President of Nigeria at that time, General Ibrahim Babangida, at the Liberty Stadium, Ibadan. The Obafemi Awolowo Foundation continued to promote his ideals through annual events like the 2025 Awolowo Memorial Webinar, themed Our 21st Century World, Reflections and Projections. Topics included technology, economic self-reliance, and social justice, values Awolowo championed. However, his most important bequests, styled Awoism, are his exemplary integrity, his welfarism, his contributions to hastening the process of decolonization, and his consistent and reasoned advocacy of federalism based on ethno-linguistic self-determination and uniting politically strong states as the best basis for Nigerian unity. Awolowo died peacefully at his Ikenne home in Ogun State, the Efunyela Hall, so named after his mother, on 9th of May 1987 at the age of 78, and was laid to rest in Ikenne, Ogun State, amidst tributes across political and ethno-religious divides. Personal life. Awolowo married Hannah Idowu Dideolu Adelana, also from Ikenne, Ogun State, on 26th of December 1937. They had 5 children. Olusegun Awolowo, born 1938 to 1963, that's father of Segun Awolowo. Omotola Oyediran Ni Awolowo, 1940 to the year 2020, Oluwole Awolowo, 1942 to 2013, Ayodele Soyode Ni Awolowo, 1944 to 2011, mother of former Second Lady of Nigeria, Dolapo Oshibanjo, and Tokunbo Awolowo Dosunmu, 1948. Honors. Obafemi Awolowo is featured in the 100 Naira banknote since 1999. He was awarded the Grand Commander of the Federal Republic, GCFR, in 1982. In addition to a variety of other chieftaincy titles, his name has been featured on roads such as Awolowo Way, Bodija, Ibadan. Chief Awolowo held the title of the Odole Odua of Ile-Ife. He wrote several books, including Awo, the autobiography of Chief Awolowo, Obafemi Awolowo, 1960, and Thoughts on Nigerian Constitution, 1966. An important figure in Nigerian history, Awolowo's ideals and accomplishments continue to influence Nigerian politics, with many politicians drawing inspiration from his legacy. Even several decades after his death, his profound thoughts on governance and/or political administration, especially how Nigeria and other developing nations of the world should be administered to engender social-political and economic harmony as well as prosperity for their people, which he meticulously documented in his books, have become famous and copiously quoted by political stakeholders.